Thank you for listening to the Gateway to the Rockies podcast from Visit Aurora from the rafters of the Stanley Marketplace. This is the show dedicated to telling the stories of Aurora, Colorado. Hi there, I'm Dave, the Senior Marketing Manager for Visit Aurora. Denver International Airport is perennially in the top 10 busiest airports in the world. Right now, it's undergoing a metamorphosis as we speak to not only keep up with demand, but to create a world-class travel experience. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Stacey Stegman, Vice President of Global Marketing and Communications for Denver International Airport. Hi, Stacey. How are you today?
Hi, great.
Tell me about growing up in Green Mountain Falls, Colorado. Population of less than 900 people. It sounds like a postcard. Was that the case?
Yeah, it is. So I went to Manitou Springs High School, which is, the bigger city right outside of Colorado Springs. But exactly what you would expect. Small mountain town, very picturesque. Known for hikers coming up to the area. It was great.
So you're Colorado at heart.
I am. I'm a Colorado girl.
There's not a lot of us out there. I am a Colorado girl as well. 1992, you're graduating from CU Denver. What was the vision for your career at that time?
Media. At that time, I worked in radio. I, really liked what I was doing in the communications media world. And you know how your path takes? It was, I ended up in radio because one day someone, I think, drank too much and didn't show up to work. And they threw me on the air, and there I was. And then after that, I ended up moving into the Colorado Department of Transportation for many years, 17 years spent there. Wow. And then here I am at the airport now for the last almost 13 years.
That's incredible. Congratulations. Speaking of CDOT, you were the Public Relations Director for CDOT from 2001 to 2012, I believe. You had a front row seat to the growth of the region over the last 30 years. It's been exciting. It's also been challenging. We went from a flyover state to a prime destination, not only for travelers, but for business and people moving their entire lives here. Looking back, what do you make of the state's growth and how do you see it going forward?
Well, it's tremendous, right? We all can experience that. Some of these towns that weren't even on the map, many years ago now are bursting at the seams. And so clearly that puts a strain on transportation for anywhere that you look. The metro area, gosh, look at that. What we're dealing with every day with traffic and just difficulties of getting to where you need to go. I love transportation. I think it's the lifeblood of communities.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at the growth that we have had, it's good and bad. The great thing about it is the economic benefits that we all receive. The downside is having to put up with things like traffic and some quality of life issues.
And keeping up with infrastructure and things like that, it's very difficult. It takes a long time to plan those things and get those up and going, but there is progress being made. I want to put you on the spot really quickly to take you back to your CDOT days. Your top 3 tips on driving in the mountains in the winter and also the zipper merge. Why should we be doing it?
Top 3 things. Definitely don't go at peak times, right? Avoid those peak times. We're here locally. You can ski during the week. You can find some other times, but we all know those Fridays and Sundays are pretty brutal. So that's one. I think another thing for driving in the mountains is good tires. Don't skimp on your tires and wait for them to get bald. That makes it really, really tough. And then I think the third one I would say is avoid being around the big trucks, right? You just don't know what could happen. And that was where I saw most of the accidents. For the zipper merge, 100% the zipper merge. I am a fan. I remember doing videos on this, 15 years ago, trying to get people to pay attention to this. It's not rude. It's okay. Just go ahead and do it and let people figure out that why would you cut a lane short? Go ahead, take advantage of the full lane.
You touch on, I think, the crux of the issue there, and this is a side that I may end up editing out, but we drive with ego in America typically. Right?
Yeah.
So you get into the lane a little early because you want to make sure you're not perceived as cutting the line. Like it's an ego thing. Like if we actually drove without the ego, that would be a seamless transition, it would seem.
Yeah.
Possibly.
You know what? I'm going to equate that also to something that happens when you go through TSA.
Yeah.
Right? Our new equipment has stations now. So it's okay to pass the person in front of you and go to the next open station. Previously, you would have to wait. You're standing behind the person. They're taking longer and you're behind them feeling anxious. That's what I love about this. It's just like the zipper merge. It's okay. It's not rude to go ahead and wait and go around at the very end.
Go to the open lane. I love that. Running PR for CDOT seems like it was a big job. Obviously it was. The only job I could imagine that would have more moving parts would be either at the Capitol or at the airport. Was it a difficult transition, or because of your insight and experience, was it seamless in some ways?
I mean, I think some of the core foundations, right? You work with stakeholders, you pay attention, you make sure people are informed and communicate with them. Those are the, basics that you do in any job like this. The thing that I think was difficult is not understanding how big of an ecosystem the airport is. You're dealing with airlines, with, restaurants and shops and everybody who's revenue driven, and then along with the FAA and TSA and all of these regulatory agencies, and trying to kind of keep everyone on the same page, keep everyone informed. That was, I think, the challenge is what's the role and lane of the airport as compared to all of these other groups that you really want to see be successful.
To bridge that a little bit, this is going to seem like a really basic question, but why does an airport need to market? It seems like it's pretty much the only game in town, fundamentally. What is the mission of you and your department?
There's difficult levels of marketing at the airport. So one, we market our parking, for example. What are all of the parking services, right? Because we may have close-in parking, we have shuttle bus parking, we have premium parking where you can reserve a spot. So those are the types of programs that we talk about. We also market ourselves to airlines, which, Denver, I admit, some of us here were like, oh, Denver's so cool. We know, or Aurora or anywhere in the metro area, right? But you start traveling across the globe and a lot of cities don't even know where we are. And so getting to know an airline, getting to know that the benefits of what we have and why you should fly out of Denver International Airport to an airline is a big deal, and how they can be profitable. I mean, we have a very, very cool community that likes to travel around this area. People travel more out of our state than many other states. And I think trying to send that message to airlines is a big part of that as well. And then you also look at, we want to help our concessions succeed and help them market and let them know that, we have a snooze at the airport, or, different types of businesses of what the products are that they can get. We have a meet and assist program where people can come and you pay a fee for a little extra assistance. If you have an elderly parent traveling and you don't feel good just putting them on a plane, you can hire this program where they will stay with your parent, make sure they get on their plane and take them all the way. So there's different programs more than marketing just the airport overall.
It's about education and advocacy, and also highlighting the benefits of what DEN has to offer.
Yeah, and absolutely. And we're revenue driven too, right? We're not a taxpayer funded airport. What's important for us to drive revenue is because that allows us to reinvest back into the airport so that we can continue to grow and be as good as possible and remodel and stay fresh and stay relevant. So that's all important, I think, for us on why you see us really being concerned about revenue as well.
Recently, the airport just launched its longest nonstop flight, a 12-hour trek via Turkish Airlines to Istanbul. How does the airport go about determining demand on new routes and then making them available to travelers?
Yeah. Well, this is the challenge. So it takes, it can take 10 years to get one of these flights. So, it always kind of makes me laugh when people are like, oh gosh, they're out traveling to Istanbul or something like that. It's because it took 10 years to build that relationship, to go every year to meet with Turkish Airlines, to show them, hey, this is how many people would be traveling on this route and what the demand would be. And so we build that, we show what their profitability would be. We try to show them how it would make sense financially for them to do this. And it takes a long time. The flight to Tokyo took over 10 years. Turkish took over 10 years. It takes some time.
So it starts with the airport going to the airlines and saying, look, there is demand here. You should bring your carriers here. We offer this incredible service, and there is a market that's ready to come and visit you.
Absolutely. And, we also do it. It's not just about Denver to Istanbul. It's about Denver to Istanbul to somewhere in Africa, right? Mm-hmm. And going beyond, so that we can offer our community a one-stop. They stop once and then there they go off to their destination. So it's just, it's not as easy and as simple as people will think. It's not that the airline comes and knocks on our door and is like, hey, we're going to start flying Denver. It takes time.
I was personally excited with the Turkey flight because there's a certain cosmetic procedure that is very famous in Turkey right now, and my hairline is in need of some help, so I'll just leave that at that. There's a mythology attached to the airport, a lore that the airport has playfully leaned into just a little bit over the last few years. Does that make your job more difficult or maybe a little more fun, because the airport uniquely has a brand that I'm guessing most airports just don't?
It is true. I just talked about that recently at an airport conference. We do have a brand, and I think it's very cool. And I love that it's part of our sense of humor. It's sort of who we are, how we talk about us. When I started at the airport many years ago, we didn't lean into it. We kind of disputed those stories all of the time. And once our CEO was like, okay, go ahead, you can lean in. We've had a lot of fun with it. And it has been great because it is. A lot of it stemmed from when the airport was built. We didn't have the internet then. You didn't have all of these cameras. And so people would see these tunnels being built and wonder what was going on. It was over budget. It was over schedule. That caused some of it. And then all of the fun and weird art that we have just added to it. So over time, it's been an amazing thing to talk about. It's one of my favorite things. And it makes it incredibly easy to market and share some of that material because it's right there written for us.
I love that the tongue is in the cheek, so to speak, and there's an ability to lean in on that branding and say, yes, we do have a personality here, and it's part of what makes this place so dynamic. There's been a concerted effort to really enhance the traveler experience at DEN, from new areas to plug in and charge, to elevated dining and shopping experiences, even art installations and events now. What has been the catalyst for these enhancements, and how do they contribute to the overall traveler experience?
Yeah. Well, it really started when we built our plaza. So when we added the Westin Hotel and that amazing outdoor space connecting the hotel to the terminal, that's where we really started looking at what can we be here and what can we activate this space to being. So we started with putting out an ice skating rink. And I will say one of the things that I'm really proud of that we do at the airport is all of these events are free. Everything that we do is just to get the community, come out, get to know the airport more, enjoy these things. So ice skating was free. We did mini golf. This year, you just mentioned the concert series we're doing. That starts July 28th on Sundays,
Wow.
Sunday afternoons. And it's fun. We have national acts. We have local acts. You can ride the train out. So if that is it, if you want to park, we appreciate that revenue as well. But either way, it's not about that. It's really just about bringing our community together. Airports in the past, think about it. You were lucky to get a hot dog and a newspaper when you flew. It was all about the airline.
Right.
Now airports are a place of wonder and an exciting place to be, to people watch and to enjoy things and really take advantage of that. And that's what we like to do.
And if you're going to be spending, a particular amount of time at an airport, it's great to have things that you're actually looking forward to doing that are experiential, that are retail, that are great food, great drinks. It's awesome that when you maybe have a little bit of a layover or whatnot, you feel not dread, but okay, here's an opportunity to have some fun.
Yeah, it is. And I think you see more of that. That's been something that happened in Asian airports forever. They have butterfly gardens and slides and everything you can imagine.
Yeah.
The U.S. airports have taken a little bit longer to be as interesting, but I think we're getting there more and more.
Well, you're leading the way with that, so that's a credit to you and your team. I think it's appreciated that the airport has all the national dining options you'd expect, but also offers a breadth of local restaurants already in operation and some coming soon. It feels like this was a concerted effort as well. Is that right? Is there a focus on appealing to local restaurateurs?
Absolutely it is. So, we want people to know when you're in our airport, you're in the Denver metro area, you're in Colorado. And that's why we worked with some of those well-known brands and our concessionaires have to develop these partnerships to bring them in. And so you see Elways, you see Snooze, you see Mercantile, there's so many great tastes. And I think people enjoy that too. If you're, coming from out of state and you don't get much time, or maybe you're just connecting, you get to get a little bit of that flavor. That was one of the things we were thinking also when we built our outdoor patios. We have people that come through that have never seen snow.
Yeah.
So how great that they get to go sit outside by a fire pit in the winter and enjoy a little bit of our amazing weather.
Imagine how many flights are missed because people are just vibing on the patio. Whoops.
It's true.
I know you can't play favorites, but let's say you have a long layover. Can you give us a quick itinerary of where we'd find Stacey eating, snacking, and maybe having a sip at the airport?
Oh, absolutely. We have some hidden favorites as well of, what you would kind of see. I mean, I know I've talked about Snooze, but that was a big deal to get Snooze to come to the airport. So
Absolutely.
Very great breakfast option. I think, we've got two Elways now. We have like an Elways tap room and grill and the traditional Elways. So they have really great food. Mercantile as well for lunch, possibly. But even Little Man ice cream, we have that on Concourse C so that you can jump out and get that flavor. That's been a really fun one. I really am looking forward to future more shopping options because I think we've really focused on feeding people, but we've got some other really good ones that are going to be coming in the future, which will be great. I mean, for for us that work at the airport too, you can't go out and run an airport or run a errand. You're out there. So I do a lot of my Christmas shopping when I'm out there, just trying to get done what I can during the day with what we have. So it's all important to offer these things. You know, I would love to see some more outdoor brands at the airport like North Face or Patagonia, or, you know, some of those that feel very Colorado as well in the future. And hopefully that is. But I will say the other thing we were really proud of was to get a Voodoo Donuts. Finally, the first airport Voodoo donut in the country. And that was good.
Take that, Portland. You have your carpet.
Exactly.
We have your Voodoo. Security screening is always a hot topic, and we've seen an evolution at the airport. How will the new advancements in security, both in DEN's new setup and also in the upgraded technology, not only speed up the screening process, but maintain, if not elevate, that standard of safety?
It's been amazing. You know, it's interesting when you go through it now. One, the space feels better, right? Mm-hmm. Think about being down in a fishbowl before and the vulnerability, you know, with people out there that have bad intent. Mm-hmm. Being able to move that to an enclosed space was a huge thing. That was the whole impetus for our Great Hall project. And so getting into that space with, you know, ballistic glass and some other things so that we could better protect our customers and our passengers made way more sense. The other thing with the equipment now is if you are not a pre-check passenger, you're just a general screening passenger and you go through the new checkpoint, you don't have to take all your liquids out of your bags. Yeah. That is huge, right? From a convenience standpoint, to just be able to put your bag in, walk through. You still have to take your shoes off unless you're pre-checked, but that was huge. And then the screening capabilities. So TSA now can be in another room where you don't even see them screening bags and looking through bags. That allows them that flexibility where they can look at multiple lanes of stuff based on where the delays are and really spend their time more efficiently. Because, you know, in the past when you see them looking at the monitors and then someone would come up and talk to them or distract them or whatever else would, you know, happen, it could take some time. Yeah. That is much faster with the new technology that you're seeing. And it gives them a better view of what's in your bag. So they have a 3D view now to be able to really look at items to push you through faster. So the screening items were great. They also don't have to return the bins. It's automatic. So the bins just go right into the system and return. So you're not taking agents away from the lane to have to go, shuffle those back. So you'll see that when we open the next one, the east side in fall of 2025, they're looking at some other technology advancements right now that they're talking about in their programs. I just went through another airport that had touchless TSA. So basically, I didn't have to show them my boarding pass. I didn't have to show them an ID. I just went right through on the camera and they let me right through. It was amazing. So I think there's some other things coming if you want to opt into those, right? Some people are concerned about privacy. Me, I'm like, I know you know who I am. Take it. I'd rather go through faster.
Yeah, you can have speed and convenience, and you can also maintain, if not elevate, the standard of safety. And I think that's a win-win. And it seems that that's the way we're trending in that regard.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, let's face it, the airport industry changed after 9/11. Mm-hmm. It's something we're living with. But I do like seeing the advancements that are being made right now to make the best of the situation we're in.
The general public has strong opinions about air travel in general. Most of these opinions are formed without having a full understanding of all the mechanisms that go into making an airport run. Do you find that frustrating when you see opinions that lack this insight, or do you see it as an opportunity to educate?
Yeah, I think it's both, right? What I don't like is the, you're taxpayer funded. We funded this. I'm like, no, you didn't. We're not taxpayer funded. You did if you contributed because you parked or you bought coffee or those types of things, and we appreciate that. But, the thing is, you also hear this anti-growth sentiment. Our strategic plan is to get to 100 million passengers. We know it's coming whether we like it or not. This is good for our region. One, it connects us to the world. So if anyone here wants to travel, fares out of Denver are about 15% cheaper than other airports, other cities. And that's because we have worked hard to keep our costs to our airlines low. So you have United, Southwest, Frontier, all major airports hubbing here. So you have amazing options of where you want to go anywhere in the world. Can you imagine living somewhere that you couldn't connect, or you had to take 3 connecting flights to get to where you want to go? We don't have that. It's amazing. And I think also, the job opportunities. We have 40,000 people that work at the airport. 40,000. That's a city.
Yes, absolutely.
So, the benefits that it's bringing to our community are huge. And that's, I think, what we want people to understand more so than just the frustrations of a flight getting canceled is it's a machine, and to get it all running all the time works pretty darn well considering the size we are. Occasionally we have hiccups. the train goes down for 10 minutes and I know that 10 minutes feels like 10 hours. But, I think overall we're working very, very hard to keep this place moving efficiently.
You touched on this, but, when initially conceived, the airport was meant to handle 50 million passengers a year max, and you're close to doubling that and will surpass that. It's a small miracle the airport operates as efficiently as it does. Is there any limit to how big the airport can grow and a maximum number of passengers that it can accommodate in a day?
Yeah, we can double to 12 runways. So we are at 6 right now. We're planning right now for our 7th. We have that ability. As we start to, expand, that's where you're going to start to see different types of expansions, right? Right now, we're starting to talk about a new terminal. We're calling it a terminal, kind of a concourse in between the main terminal and Concourse A. So adding one where we don't have one today, that allows us to add 50 new gates. It also allows it to be walkable, so you wouldn't have to get on the train. You can just go walk through security and be right there. So growth as far as passengers, that's a good question. I don't know where we would go that, but easily we can double in size of where we are today.
You touched on this as well. A new fleet of trains debuted with more on the way. What are some of the other exciting developments at the airport that you can tell us about? Well,
we've been getting a lot of calls about Pena Boulevard. It's heavily congested. We know that we have to do something about that. We have to do these federal environmental studies just like any other agency does. We're starting that to look at options of how we can relieve some of the pressure on Pena Boulevard. We are talking about this new North Terminal that I just mentioned that's very, very exciting. It gives us an opportunity to do a lot of different things. The train improvements are coming. We've still are talking about the pedestrian bridges. So connecting, we have a bridge right now from the terminal to Concourse A. We are talking now about what it would take to add a bridge between Concourse A to Concourse B and eventually Concourse B to Concourse C so that there would be more walkable options if we did have an incident with a train. That's exciting. And probably the other big one that we're working on right now is a consolidated rental car facility. And that's, you might have seen those at other airports. Right now we have just spread out fields and fields of rental cars.
Yeah.
We have a very busy rental car market because of people, heading to the high country. And so for us to be able to consolidate that into one facility where we can also have some electrification and accommodate different types of vehicles would be amazing and much more convenient for our travelers that are coming in. They can jump on. We're calling it a common transportation system because we don't know what it's going to be yet, but it could be, a people mover or something like that where people can jump on and get to their rental cars much more easily. And then that frees up all the shuttle buses coming to the terminal so we don't have those. So that one's an exciting one. I think that's the big one that you'll hear about soon.
That's going to be a game changer, absolutely. Give us some travel hacks at DEN. What are some of the things that you wish the general public knew?
Well, I think, that walking to the A Bridge is always great, so that you don't have to jump on the train because the train is crowded right now. And I think that is a great travel hack for folks. Parking, parking's probably more the fact that we have an option. It's expensive, and I don't want to discount that. But you do have the ability to reserve a parking spot. So that's kind of nice, especially for people, I think, that are traveling on business travel that tend to use it. So you don't have to just drive around looking for parking. That's a great one. I talked about our Meet and Assist program. If you need a little bit of extra assistance, I think that is important for people traveling as well, because, if you have a lot of bags or whatever that is, it's hard and you have to walk a long way at our airport. So that's good. But I think, I think those are probably the ones. The TSA one, I just want to tell people, I can't stress to you, get online on flydenver.com and look at what the times are, the wait times are for the TSA lines, and pick the best option for yourself. It's so hard when somebody gets there and they're caught in a 30-minute line and miss their flight. We don't want that. We're not kidding when we say get there 2 hours in advance, because it can change in a moment's notice, and we don't, we can't always predict that. And TSA does their best to schedule their staff, but there are times that the lines get long, and that would suck for you to miss a flight because of that.
Well, and I'm always get to the airport early guy.
Yeah.
I just like the energy of the airport, but, obviously in light of us promoting the airport here, I like all of the advances. I like that there's great places to eat and great places to shop. There's things to do. There's a reason to feel good about going to the airport early. You go through security, you have some time to kill, and there's actually things to do other than scroll on your phone. It's a beautiful thing.
There is. And now, in the new expansion areas at the end of the concourses, there's great seating, so different types of comfortable seating.
Yeah.
And right now we are working on the final design of the Great Hall, which is the area where the south checkpoint is today. Once we move that, we get to totally reimagine that space and bring back restaurants and seating and performance spaces and all these cool things. So we're in the heat of designing that right now, and I cannot wait to be able to unveil some of that soon, because we're really going to make the terminal amazing again, because it's been torn up for the last 5 years. We know that's frustrating, and we're nearing the end.
I have a minor personal gripe.
Okay.
A few years ago, there were open auditions for the train voice, and Kim Christensen replaced the Del Arakawa from 9 News, and she's great. I worked with Alan Roach at iHeart, and when it was thought that maybe his voice would be replaced, it was like, okay, every radio person, including myself, sit demos. And then when we heard that he was coming back, there was a collective like, yeah, he deserves it. He's kind of the authority. Hold on, please. Like I can't even mimic it well. Like, it's just so perfect. So
he is.
I was so disappointed, but also relieved, because he's kind of the iconic voice of the brand almost. He
absolutely is. When we opened that up for competition, it was a fun thing to go through. But we heard loud and clear the number of votes for Alan far surpassed everything. And we were like, okay, we're not messing with Alan.
Yeah, I realized I could not be mad about Alan Roach retaining that in perpetuity forever. I hope you keep that voice long after he's left.
I don't want to open this up again ever, as long as I'm there.
What's your vision for Denver International Airport over the next decade, and maybe the air travel industry overall?
Yeah, I think for me, we want this to be a comfortable space for everybody, that's beautiful, that's clean, that you feel good, that you get through efficiently, you're not frustrated with us. That to me is what you experience when you come through, in the beauty of our architecture, and making sure that everything else measures up to that. We have a responsibility, and I think what you'll find is the people that work at the airport have so much pride, and they care so much. I mean, any of us, you see us walking through, picking up garbage. I've been down there scraping gum off of chairs because we care so much about the place. So providing that for everyone that utilizes this airport is most important. But then I think down the road is really thinking about what is most important to you guys when you go through. Like, is it that you have an efficient experience? Is it that you have the best possible bathrooms? Making sure that we meet those things for our community, and really provide the best possible airlines for our travel, right? Because keeping our costs low allows the airlines to come and operate out of the airport. It's this cycle of stuff, right? If we don't charge them a ton of money, they're going to want to be there. And then in turn, that offers all of these options for our community. And so that's really what we're focused on, is our global connections, and then taking care of the space that we have, allowing it to grow to accommodate the passengers that we know are coming.
So are there any other exciting routes that we should be looking forward to? We talked about Turkish Airlines. What else is on the way?
Well, on the way, we can't announce those, but I will say what has come this year. The other thing I want to mention that was another big one for us to get was Aer Lingus to Dublin.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big one for anyone that in our community here that wants to go to Ireland.
Yeah.
Do it. Enjoy this Aer Lingus flight. That's an amazing one to get. And I think Ireland is just a very, very cool place. We had some other new ones this year: Viva Aerobus to Monterrey, Mexico, and then Breeze Airways to Providence, Rhode Island. Those were good. Providence was a destination that we didn't have, so being able to have service to Rhode Island was really great. We have the second biggest domestic market. That's huge. So why you can get anywhere to any city in the U.S. is so great. So take advantage of some of these new airlines and get to know them.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, have you been in the basement? And if so, what's down there?
Oh, I absolutely have been in the basement. That in my first week, I was like, take me to the basement. It's a lot of tunnels and a lot of baggage carts. You just see golf carts and baggage carts loaded with luggage, it's fun. It's not nearly as exciting as people think, but I have to admit, even when I go down there, just even on a weekly basis, I love being down there. It's high energy, it's crazy, but I have yet to see anything strange and hidden.
Stacey, it was a pleasure to talk to you today. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
That was Stacey Stegman, Vice President of Global Marketing and Communications for Denver International Airport. Next time you're leaving Aurora or flying in, take a look at all the new offerings at flydenver.com. You can also get convenient flight and security info there as well. Be sure to also follow along on Instagram at DEN Airport and on Facebook at Denver International Airport. Thank you for listening to the Gateway to the Rockies podcast. Visit Aurora is the official destination marketing organization for the city of Aurora, Colorado, and acts as the primary liaison between meeting planners and hotel partners. As Aurora's Convention and Visitors Bureau, Visit Aurora's mission is grounded in showcasing Aurora as a premier destination for meetings, business, and leisure travel. Visit Aurora represents more than 75 plus hotel properties with 13,500 plus guest rooms and more than 1 million square feet of meeting space, including Colorado's largest resort, Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center. As Colorado's third largest city, Aurora is located minutes away from Denver International Airport and showcases mountain views, memorable meeting spaces, and 250 plus international eateries that offer a unique experience for each and every visitor. As the gateway to the Rockies, Visit Aurora's role in the local community goes beyond marketing the city as a destination. The Visit Aurora team is here to assist you with your Colorado visit, from facilitating your meeting, event, or convention to helping you discover local flavor and attractions. Go beyond the boardroom in Aurora, Colorado. For more, visit us at visitaurora.com.